So I decided to visit our great friend, Sarasota Tim. And it seems like maybe he didn't get a great night's sleep last night. He is pretty hot and bothered about what he is describing as his bots. I guess anybody that makes any commentary, any type of reaction video, anything that says anything about Tim, then they are obviously a bot. We used to be a hater, I guess. We used to be known as Margaret, but I don't know where Margaret has gone. Margaret has disappeared. So he has all these euphemisms that he likes to use in order to describe any of the channels that try to call out anything that he says. Now, he's been getting more concerned, I think, because there's been a lot of focus continuing on PPP loans, EIDL loans, and basically there are now attorneys who are working with people who may have potentially or allegedly taken out money under false pretenses. And Tim is always trying to kind of cover his tracks about what money he borrowed and what he didn't borrow, and that he doesn't have any loans and he's debt free and this, that, and the other. But in reality, that's not the case. And I am going to kind of intertwine. It's not the first time I've showed this video. It is a video that has Tim talking about his EIDL loans and his Social Security from his own mouth. So we're going to speed this one up because I don't want it to be too long. Let me just put my fair use out because, Tim is striking channels down, and I just want to know that this is going to be transformative content, and it's going to have my reactions and my opinions, and these are all my opinions and my opinions only. And the things that are going to be said are going to be said from Tim's mouth himself, not for me. He will be the one explaining everything, not me. Not I, sir. Not I. All right. So let's get over here to the first one. I'm going to make me small. All right, Tim. He says, one thing I got is plenty of bots, a.k.a. haters. Okay, so yeah, his euphemism, also known as. All right, Tim. Sped him up to 1.25. I tried 1.5, but it was a little too much for me. All right, take it away, Tim.
Hey, good morning, you 111,000 beautiful souls out there. It's another day here in beautiful Laughlin, Bullhead City, and it's time to take our vitamins. Let's see here. We're going to grab a couple of these and one of these. And
Doc Tim at his medication cabinet here. I hope your doctors know that you take all these supplements, Tim. Otherwise, you're just getting very expensive urine.
A little foo-foo juice on. Woo! Looking good, smelling good. Got the bed made. Got a couple of things laying out there. What time is it? Well, I got it set on Arizona time, and it says 4:25. No, it says 5:25 because that's what it is over there, about a half a mile from here. In fact, my phone and Dan and Joe and Johnny Vegas, Timmy Appleseed, all of them, their phones, when you're in the casino, will give you.
I have sped him up, I believe. Let me just double check. Yes. Okay. He still seems like he's chatting. It's so funny because when you get to 1.5, it's so much faster. All right, Tim, you're talking about your, I guess, fan club.
The Arizona time, whatever they call that, Mountain Central. I don't know what it is, but it's so close. And we're so far away from the actual Pacific time, like over in California on the coast or middle of the state. So I don't go by Pacific time. I'm on 2 hours difference from home base in Sarasota. Now, I got kind of wired last night on some coffee. Timmy Appleseed and I stayed up kind of late at the McDonald's talking and catching up because he's a good friend of mine and we haven't seen each other in a while. And I needed something for sleep. So I have some prescription sleep aid that I take rarely, but because I don't have any problem going to sleep. So I took one last night. They're only 5 milligrams.
I don't need to know why you don't have problems sleeping, Tim, because we saw you outside that bar in Key West. Is that your sleep aid that helps you sleep usually? that you say you don't drink, or you at some point, but you have kind of left that to the wayside. You're not showing off with your alcohol-free beer anymore in your Walmart trolley anymore. I don't know. I haven't looked, but
and I'm a little, I don't know. I need coffee. I don't have any here.
There's a thing in Maxwell House.
There is, but I'm going to leave out the door any second.
Well, what's the Maxwell House over there? Is that just an empty container being used for something else? I guess so. It's got the thing of Maxwell House over there in the corner. So that makes no sense. I don't know. Maybe he's just more drama.
And head over to McDonald's and get myself a cup. And we're playing golf early this morning. And I told them I'd be up early if they want to have coffee or something. I might even go over to the Aquarius and sit there and enjoy a cup. But I hope you ride along with us today and meet the guys as we get a little more acquainted.
I don't usually. Oh, well, that's
and meet.
I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see his eye here. Oh, Tim. I don't deal in ophthalmology. It's not my specialty. But what I can say is this eye is significantly looking more edematous. This must be the eye that's affected with his sight. Is this the glaucoma eye, Tim? You need to take care of that. I don't think you need to be worrying about golf. I think you need to be worrying about preserving your eyesight. Okay, get on to the part about the haters. You're taking forever to get.
Dan and Joe. Joe wasn't feeling well yesterday. I won't go into all of his particulars, but he could use some prayer. And you know, they're in Vegas and they're over here now, and he is he's the one driving. So of course he's got the other two there that can drive, or Dan anyway, and get him back, you know, but he might be resting and laying out today. I don't know, but I just heard last night he wasn't feeling well. So we certainly wish and pray that that Joe feels better today and soon. So enough of that. I'm feeling really good. I went off my carnivore for a meal yesterday with the guys, and then we're supposed to go to Orioles, and I'm really kind of double thinking that because, I mean, man.
Oh, great. Tim talking about his diet. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, Tim. It's you. Is that going to be my new content? I'll talk about the Mexican tofu bowl with the avocado I had today. There we go.
It takes so long to lose a pound and about 2 seconds to gain one. So I don't know, but it's kind of hard to turn down that carnitas. I keep thinking about it. And both Dan and Joe said they love Mexican food too. And it's really nice to, I just want to keep saying their names because yesterday they showed genuine interest.
Why do you need to validate that you have all these people that have interest? Are these like sideline characters that you're bringing into the channel? You act as though nobody else has a social life or gets out or does things with friends or goes out to eat or does anything. It's just that we choose not to share these things. I share certain aspects of my life in regards to a little bit of my school, a little bit about what I obviously do for work, but I'm not going to be mentioning all of my friends' names. I've had one video or a couple maybe with a friend of mine who willingly does come into my videos, but nobody's begging for this. I don't know. I just wonder the reason for it. Like, what is the need, this sense of validation that Tim needs, in my opinion, allegedly, in order to, have to have these conversations about all these people he hangs out with? I don't know. Is it just sideline characters? I just don't get it. All right, Tim, carry on. I'm not interested.
Being like a friend, they ask a lot of questions. They were sharing a lot of the stuff. Where they from? His new truck he got. And Dan with the RV, how happy he is with his.
Well, Tim, do we need to remind you of some of your more simple times when you started to work over here at the Publix rest over here? Okay. So I'm going to bring up another video of Tim. I'm going to show the transcript here so I can get to the right parts of this video. Let me share this tab instead. We're going to go back and forth. So if you may or may not remember, let's speed him up a little bit. This is how we remember Tim. This is Tim when he was hitting millions of views on his Social Security videos. This was the Tim of the time. This is the gentleman who was the minimalist. This isn't the man in the $100,000 worth of, trucks and RVs. Okay. This was the man who talked about his money that he borrowed from Social Security. And I've showed this video before, but Tim seems to forget this because I guess since he deleted it from the internet, he doesn't believe it exists. But thankfully, there are archive channels, and I'll link the one for this particular channel down below in my description box. And we are going to intertwine a little bit about what Tim says along with this. And I apologize for making this video a little longer than I would want to, but I think Tim needs to hear his own words. 1.25 speed.
Let me make sure I got everything. Got a knife and everything, cutting board, box. I'm cutting melons up today, watermelons.
So here we are, got Tim. He's going over to the Publix. Let's get down to his transcripts here. And the reason being is that I want to be able to kind of get over here, and just speed along to the part where he starts to talk about his Social Security. So here he goes. And there's that transcript, which is always good to find the places you want to be.
Just under $1,700 a month on my Social Security. And that's not enough. That's why I'm working. For quite a while, I had some savings built up. I was robbing Paul to pay Peter, and I was drawing my Social.
Robbing Peter to pay Paul. I don't know if he's just trying to say things in order for people to make comments, or if he actually is not aware of the saying.
Security and taking money from savings to make ends meet. And at first, I convinced myself that I'll get a job eventually. What was that? And I won't have to borrow too much from savings, and I can enjoy life. But when you take
minimalist Tim, still whatever vehicle, he seems to carry half his life in the back of it. I guess the little cooler slid down. I guess this is all the things he needed to do his job at the Publix when he had to set up for his little sausage station. Keep going, Tim.
$500-600 out of your savings account every month. Every couple of months is $1,000. Well, I don't know how many thousands you got saved up, but I don't have that many. So it took me down quick. And that's why I'm doing, and you'll do what you have to do if you are collecting Social Security. Now, some people, when they get to be 62, if they collect their Social Security, they also have a pension that they've probably been drawing for years when they retired from a company, at like 50 or 55 years old. And they're drawing a $300, $400, $500, $600, $800 a month pension. I don't know how much pensions are, a lot.
Well, why are you drawing pensions like that? How are you not drawing a pension like that? I thought that you were an entrepreneur and you worked 30, 40 years. Well, anyway, let's speed along and see what you say.
Yeah. I worked for myself for 33 years. It was a very lucrative business. I did very well. I always had money in my pocket. My bills were always paid. I drove a new car.
Was the lucrative business the oil coupons that you used to kind of share at people, and sell at people's doorsteps in the neighborhood, and you work 2 or 3 hours a day and then you kick out? Okay, keep going, Tim.
Always been basically a minimalist because I'm not one to carry debt. I don't like debt. I don't like being behind the 8 ball. I don't have anywhere to get it from if I accrue too much. But these people that have all that 401, pension, Social Security.
You don't like debt, but you're driving a $60-some thousand truck now, Tim. What happened? What changed? I'm very confused. This seems like a very, very different Tim. And he's going to go about the 401s, of course, because, how dare somebody else have that. Let's speed along a little bit, and he's going to talk a little bit about having quit his business, here. So let's see what he has to say about that.
Since I quit my business, that's it. And whatever savings that you have or that I've been able to save. And even when I worked, I'll be honest with you, I didn't save money. I've never even owned a home in my life. I've always been a renter because with that business that I was in, I'm supposed to go straight, was a.
You were such a smart businessman, though, Tim. How did you not own a home in the 30 years that you worked as an entrepreneur, hustling?
Kind of a business that did take me every few years from one county to another. I would move, or one state to another. I lived in Georgia and Florida here. So I always thought.
Now, allegedly, in my opinion, I'm not really sure. Now, were the moves due to really the line of work of oil change coupons? Is that, did you feel that you saturated certain neighborhoods and then felt it was time to then saturate other areas with the coupon business? I'm just curious.
Well, if I own a home, what am I going to do if I have to, I run out of territory to do my selling in my marketing business that I had, and still be responsible for a house. So I was just a squatter. But in those days, pre-pandemic, the cost of ownership was a little less than renting. So it made sense to buy, more sense. It always makes more sense to buy when it's cheaper than renting. But right now, it's the other way around. It's way up here to own and down here to rent. It's way cheaper. The cost of ownership.
I think things have changed on that too. A little bit, Tim. I think things have changed on that. All right. Keep going along. Let's see. So he's going off about the housing market at this point. And we don't need to hear him talking about the housing market because he goes on. And then he's going to tell, he's going to talk about his time of being a minimalist. So let's hear because, Tim's a minimalist, guys. We know that. We see that minimalist truck and the minimalist RV and the minimalist 6 shirts that he buys in the same design, different colors.
Stock market. All of these things, I have none. I told you I'm a minimalist. Minimalist in investments, minimalist in making money. I mean, I never even made that big of money. But, that's relative too. If you don't make a lot, but you don't have a lot of overhead, it's relative. You got a lot of people. I know people that make big money. But damn, you should see how they live. They got 8 credit cards, 3 cars, giant homes, lawn equipment, land.
Aren't you at a car, a truck, and an RV at this point? Well, it seems like you're pretty close to there. All right, let's just keep going on. So here we get into the part where Tim actually speaks about his government loans. Take it away, Tim.
I have rent, electric, a government loan. That's where I got my money when I was put out of business during the pandemic. You guys might have heard of PPP money, SBA, Small Business Administration, government. Some were grants that, for their penance for shutting us down, that were basically replacing my income that I was making. But remember, I never made much, so those weren't very big. Some people got millions, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands. I got a couple of $1,000 twice. I could have got 3, but I missed out on one because.
Which loans were these? I guess these were the PPP loans. Okay, interesting. All right, continue.
I don't know. It's another story. And those were forgiven because that was the government saying, we're sorry, we shut you down, our bad. Here's you some money to hold you over, so you're not on the streets. Well, and then they came up with that unemployment. Do you guys remember the $600 a week that people were getting and they didn't want to work because they were making more money on unemployment? Here's one. I was making about the same, but gig workers, self-employed people, you can't get unemployment.
So, but things change. So yes, but I don't think you could get the unemployment and a PPP because that's supposed to be for payroll protection. So a certain amount, I don't know. I don't know if I think there were some caveats around that. I've looked into this before. You may want to talk to an attorney, Tim.
You can only get unemployment if you work for someone and you're laid off. Not if you're fired or you quit. But if you do work for someone, you can get unemployment.
No, actually, if you're fired, you can appeal for unemployment, and many times you will get it. It's actually better to be fired and file for unemployment. So that's not true, Tim.
And it's never really ever amounted to much. I would never want to collect it because I'd have to go back to work right away because that wasn't enough to pay my bills. But during the pandemic, they gave your unemployment.
Oh my goodness, Tim. Tim, who's now having to crank out like 10, 20 videos a day, is probably working harder than ever now than he did before, when he was living on Easy Street for 30 years with the marketing business.
Of what you were used to making every week. And again, my income was very low on the record. So the unemployment amount was really smaller than most people were getting. But that $600 a week they were giving for like 3 months.
Why was it so small? Was it just that your business really didn't make a lot of money, or you got some stuff allegedly what happened?
They gave to gig workers. They gave to self-employed people. Again, because they shut us down. I didn't ask to be put out of business. I didn't ask to quit going out selling and earning. I was a self-starter. I've been doing it for 33 years. I didn't ask. We woke up one day, right? They said, give us 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Remember that? Well, 2-3 years later. So I got that. That held me over. And then I was about 6 or 8 months away from turning 62 to get my Social Security. Well, the Social Security didn't add to income that disqualified you from the unemployment. So I was able to milk that for a while. And it was like, wow. I've heard stories. A lot of people made a lot of money, not from free money, but from their businesses taking off since the pandemic. Plumbers, auto repair shops, because for whatever reason, there were so many people shut down that people were clawing to get to anybody that was in business, and they were paying whatever they had to. I had a guy come over and fix my washing machine one time that the landlord sent because.
All right, we're just going to move along, Tim. So Tim is just, always trying to justify about all of, reasons why he's getting this money. Okay. And he talked about, he's got the unemployment. Okay. So he's going to talk a little more about his unemployment.
Before that unemployment and all those things, I don't know what would happen by the grace of God. So it was so much money that I was able to bank a few dollars. And then as it got worse and they realized that it wasn't 2 weeks to flatten the curve, they started talking about if you're a business, remember the gig workers and self-employed people don't get unemployment. They extended it to those gig workers, which is what I was. Because I was a business and I paid my taxes and therefore I qualified. I didn't.
Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a gig worker? A marketing guy? Exactly. He seems to be many things, all in a gray area.
Didn't get what many businesses got, but I got some money and it held me over. Then I started getting my Social Security. I'm backtracking a little bit here, but let me bring you up. Then they said, apply for these loans. These aren't forgivable, but the SBA, Small Business Administration, is going to give you what they call an EIDL.
Okay.
Emergency something. Anyway, it was a business loan. And because of catastrophes, disasters, and everything to keep.
I believe it's the Economic Injury Disaster Loan.
Your businesses afloat. So I got approved. I got one, and it was more than that PPP money, the payroll protection plan that was forgivable, because that was just my little salary they kind of tried to replace for me for a few months. But the
I think that was like $4,000.
EIDL was a loan that was a lot more money, and it was to help businesses, keep the machinery up, their rents, and so they wouldn't have to go out of business. So I was reluctant to take it, but I'd been watching a lot of YouTubers who made a lot of money on YouTube, making channels talking about this is a jog road. I'm going to Lions Road.
And so this is where Tim starts to probably get ideas about doing channels talking about Social Security, because he's clocking in his mind these channels talking about certain subjects and how they're able to monetize from that and get views. And Tim is obviously interested.
About the pandemic money that you could get. And so everybody was watching these, all the businesses, including myself, watching these channels that grew like crazy. They had hundreds of thousands of subscribers and hundreds of thousands of views, making big money on YouTube. And a lot of those guys are still doing it, but they've gone into stocks and gold, and they've branched out. You know, they keep evolving. But during the pandemic, it was all about, remember I got those too. We all got them, that stimulus checks. So money kept coming in that actually did put me in that position of where I was saying, hell, pandemic wasn't so bad. I, got put out of business, but I was able to save some money, make some.
Yeah. So what if, my neighbor's mother died? Who cares about that? Who cares about all the people who were risking their lives working in healthcare systems or, working crazy hours to, Tim just banking money over here, just living the good life. All that free government money.
Some money, and every bit as much money as I was making working, and then some. Let me get back to that EIDL loan. So I was watching these YouTubers say, get that loan, and it's going to be, a real low interest rate, and they're going to give you a year to even start paying it back. And hey, if you don't need it, just pay it back, but take it.
Tim, I thought you were debt free.
So I thought, well, that makes sense. Put it in the bank, and if you don't need it, pay it back. But it was a 30-year loan, like a mortgage, and it was a very small interest rate. I think it's 3.75, which doesn't seem that small now. And you had a year to start paying it. It's like kind of hard to turn down. So I took it.
Oh, okay.
And I paid off some debt, and I got a year.
I didn't realize that money for the economic injury disaster loan was meant to pay off somebody's debt. I didn't think that was one of the purposes of that loan, was to pay off somebody's debt. Was that personal debt? Or is that debt accrued by your business that seems to have been closed for an extended period of time and to a place where you said you were banking money and you had savings? So what? Now you're talking about having used taxpayer funded money to pay debt. And that's not the intention of those loans.
And then guess what? They came out and said, how about another year? We'll give you another year to start paying this loan. And everybody, of course, did it. So I took another year. So 2 years goes by. But they said the interest, though, will continue to accrue. But it was a 30-year loan. Now, I've already resolved with the fact that I'll be paying that the rest of my life. I just have maybe 30 years to live. So I'm going to be paying that for the rest of my life. But
30 years to live? Tim, you always say everybody dies at 73 and you're 65. I know your math can be somewhat suspect on occasion, but that's like only 8 years, not 30 years. So it seems that you were taking out loans that you knew that you would never, the loan would outlive you for sure. Interesting, Tim. Keep telling on yourself. You're such a good Christian.
But to have that grub stake, to have that startup, sorry about that. I got cut off from a alarm that went off on my phone.
I don't think that was startup money. That was supposed to be covering for your business having been impacted by what was a really trying time for many people, but not for Tim. You're having a good old time. Keep going, Tim.
To leave for work. So I'm still way ahead of schedule. So calm down, Tim. But I turned in the wrong.
All right, let's see. Let's see where he goes from here. Let's see if he talks more about. Okay, so he's. Okay. Okay, here he goes again. All right, here he goes on. Let's hear him say more a little bit about being debt free.
I don't think. So I took the loan. I waited the 2 years. I paid off some debt. I had some change, a lot of change left over, which brings me up to what I said in the beginning of the video. I was robbing Paul to pay Peter. I was robbing from that found money, that borrowed money that they gave me, along with my Social Security. And resolved to the fact that, I'm going to be paying it the rest of my life.
So it wasn't helping to protect the payroll. It wasn't helping for the difficulties incurred by the business. This money that was taxpayers' money went to pay off personal debt, more than likely, in my opinion, allegedly. He's talking about debt. He just hasn't indicated if it's personal or if it's business related. And then he's got some extra change from it too. So let's see how you also use these funds that don't seem like you're using them for their legitimate reasons, Tim.
And, when the payment comes, I'll just get a job. I mean, it's like a $300 payment. So who couldn't get a job and make $300 falling out of bed? So that's what happened. And then when the loan started and it came to me.
Well, then why are you on YouTube cranking out 10 videos, 20 videos a day and asking people to send you buy me a coffees? If it's easy, just roll out of bed and, go sling sausages. You got $300.
Maturity, and there's no more free ride of paying, waiting. I had to get a job. And of course, my job really is only a few $100 more than that payment. So this job is not enough. I'm going to need more. I'm going to need that, what I keep talking about. I'm going to need that $1,000 to $1,500 a month that will keep me under that $21,500 that I'm allowed to make, and well cover that loan amount and have money. It'd be a game changer for me. So as you can see, I'm on
game changer. But I thought Tim, I know you don't own a home. I know you don't have a pension at this point. I know you just didn't have a 401k. I understand. But you're such a, hot shot. How is this money from the American taxpayer a game changer for you? I don't understand. I don't get it. All right, let's see where he's gonna. Okay, so he. I think this was about the time he got the wolf pup. And he's going to start talking about his retirement life. Oh, so here he goes. Let's keep hearing what Tim has to say.
A retirement life. If I got the $1,000 to $1,500 coming in, and I saved up some money for a few months, and and I didn't want to travel during the winter months anyway. Other than Florida, it's cold everywhere else. I'll do some.
That's interesting because you're sitting in Laughlin at the moment, and it's definitely wintertime almost.
Some traveling and enjoy my life. I don't have to do it year round. Just save up, work all 3/4 of the year, save up, then quit that job and go travel around. That's kind of what I want to do. So anyway, to bring you back, I get $1,700 a month. I pay my rent, I pay my electric. It's not too bad in a little camper, as you can imagine. I pay the government loan, which I told you was $300.
Oh, the $300.
I got car insurance, obviously full coverage
for the next 30 years, but you're debt free. Did you pay off all that government loan? I mean, I thought you would have been shouting that from the rooftops, Tim, if you'd done that. I mean, I thought that's what would have happened. Okay, keep going. I'm not going to watch this one all the way. Keep going, Tim.
On a $40,000 vehicle here. I've got one credit card that doesn't charge me interest, but I have to make like a couple $100 a month payment on it to try to cover what I spend on it every month. And it still keeps climbing.
Well, what happened to that credit card? Did you make enough money on YouTube now you paid off that credit card? Where did that go? Where did that debt go? Interesting. Okay. I don't think he's as honest as this anymore.
But remember, I do have some savings. So if that interest runs out and I can't get an interest-free credit card from somebody else to do a transfer balance, I'll just have to take the money from my savings and pay it off. I'm not.
So this is so Tim likes to, okay, so he does that game. Okay, the move from zero transfer, move it debt every time I get a 0%. Okay, I
got to pay 1 penny in interest. So I use that instead of cash. I have food, which I put down here, $800. I don't think that's an exaggeration. Food's expensive. Gas for my car, I have to say.
Okay, well, those are all prices. Okay, now what else does he talk? Oh, he gets into his expenses at this point, and he just kind of talks about his expenses and so forth. and things that have probably changed. And he talks about, Obamacare and so forth. Okay, so that was kind of Tim at the time. All right, now we have current Tim. We're going to go back to current Tim, the one that's got all the haters. Let's bring up the transcript so we can move him along a little bit, because Tim's taking a little bit too much time over here. So I'm going to bring up the transcript over here and take a little look-see and see what we got. Okay, so he's starting to talk about his YouTube channel. Here we go. His Social Security. Here we go. He's thanking all his YouTube subs. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Are these just more people like him? Okay. All right, here we go. He's going to start talking about us
people that are like-minded. They either like golf or collecting Social Security at 62, living free, Christian people, and things like that. And so it's just been a real honor to add these two extra beautiful souls to the community. And if you're new to this channel, I've been seeing some new usernames out there, a lot of bots out there. Just ignore those folks. Well, of course, we know there's not a thread of truth to anything at all, not one word that they try to slander and put out there. Believe me, folks, if anybody, including you or them, was wanted by the law or done something illegal, there's nobody easier to come find than someone that's on social media. And you don't even have to be that. All you gotta do is carry one of these.
Oh, there's lots of people on social media who are then caught doing some things that are nefarious, Tim. So you would not be the first nor the last, allegedly. But if you did take these loans out and you did use these monies in the ways that they were not intended, and if those numbers are correct, that they are saying that it's been the majority of people taking these loans out who did not use these loans as intended, then I think you should, instead of just trying to Doth protest so much, why are you not just an honest person? There's a reason why you took that video off your channel, Tim, but it's there.
Things around that I'm looking at right now in your pocket, or get in your car even, and they know exactly where you are and when they want to come and take you. So if you hear or read silly, crazy, slanderous, salacious, stupid stuff, just ignore it. If you want to know the truth about Sarasota Tim, then you're getting it right now. Because if I had anything whatsoever to hide, I certainly wouldn't be out living my life.
Then why did you delete the video? And why do you also say that you can't believe a word you say coming out your mouth?
Or acting like there's something suspect about anything that I do. I am a citizen. I have an over 800 credit score. I am not a broke dick. I've earned what I've got.
You probably have an over 800 credit score, because it seems like you got some debt paid off, potentially, allegedly, from what it sounds like, EIDL loans. We don't know if that's personal debt, but maybe it's your business and your commercial were mixed. You didn't specify what type of debt that was that it paid. I can't imagine somebody who had a marketing promotional business selling oil coupon changes door to door was carrying that much debt on that business.
Unlike these other people that don't earn, they're trying to hang on coattails or make up crazy stuff so that you'll watch like those tabloid magazines. And there's other YouTubers too that are out there making videos. There's one that's very, very big. And that's why I'm talking about this. And he made a video about people that did some things during the pandemic regarding taking government loans that stole the money.
Weren't you watching these same people during this time and getting the ideas to borrow this money? And you kept hearing it. You said on YouTube, and people saying to get this money, get this money, get this money. So did you decide at that time that you wanted to follow through with their advice? Because it sounds like you did, in your own words, Tim. That's not AI. That's you, Tim, in one of your vehicles from the past. I can't remember which one. Maybe it was the Tundra. I can't remember. Don't get at me, people.
They took money for a business that had 20, 30 employees, 10 employees, 100 employees, and they were paid millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars to give to those employees, to give them, to keep them gainfully employed, to keep their business afloat. They got this money. And then they took that money, fired everybody, closed the doors, and pocketed the money and went and bought yachts and things like that. And there's some very big names out there. I mean, sports figures, everything you can imagine. And yes, illegal white collar crime is committed.
It sounds like deflection here from me, Tim. You know, there's a thing where it's kind of where you say it's the yeah, but look over here. These people, you know, my justification potentially for actions is that these big stars, these big celebrities, they did nefarious things. See, that's what they're talking about. They're not talking about Sarasota Tim. They're talking about these people over here. Interesting.
All the time, always has been. And so to that.
Yeah, Tim definitely has a little bit of a transference there. You know, he definitely has that. And I apologize for the length of this one, but this is Tim. And it ruins my algorithm, but who cares?
Millions and millions of people during the pandemic that were businesses. Here's one. An entrepreneur, an independent contractor, a little small business guy was awarded a few dollars because they told me to go home and sit down and let them flatten the curve. And for doing that and putting
a few dollars, you were just telling us like how you were like getting so much money, you were able to put it in savings and use that to supplement your Social Security money. And then when you finally had the time when your loans were due to be paid on the EIDL loans that you borrowed that money from, you then decided that you needed to go to work to get that $300 that you needed each month to pay on this loan because you'd been given a 2-year stay of not having to worry about paying that loan. A few dollars. It was, I think, like $58,000 allegedly between the PPP and the EIDL. There were two combined because people always want to point out which is which in my comments. Like, people get really feisty about that one.
Me out of my business. They said, here's what you would have made. Here's what you would have made.
Okay.
During this period.
Okay.
And to keep you a little afloat based on your income taxes and your returns and all that you've provided us, legitimate income tax returns for the last 50 years. I've been filing.
How's it 50 years? You said over here you were working 30. How many years have you been working, Tim? Just give a straight answer for once, mate. Stop with the blab and the blarney.
Income taxes for 40 to 50 years. Based on that, here's a little something to help you get by. And then, hey, here's some stimulus checks, which I gave everybody. And hey, here's some unemployment that normally independent contractors and self-employed people never get. You have to work for somebody to get that. But they say, we're going to give it to them because we put everybody out of business. We, the government, shut everything down under no fault of yours. You were out there hustling, making your money, working your prison job. And because we told you you're out.
Tim, we have evidence where you've said in the past that you worked 2 or 3 days a week, 2 or 3 hours a day. You always want to make out like, and then you say you never got a house or a 401k. So it's pretty clear during probably one of the biggest times of economic growth and boom in the United States, you sat on your royal derriere and did nothing, allegedly. And these are from your words often. We can all go back and find the videos. And that's why you don't like us, because you keep changing your story, Tim. And now you're trying to sell another one. And especially to new subscribers. And now you're probably sweating a little bit because maybe you did falsify a little bit of your paperwork and you realize that, allegedly.
Stop doing it. Here's a little bit of money for you. And that money that they gave to those that took it legitimately was 100% a grant, a forgivable loan. That was your money that you would have made that they gave. It's not a.
And see, this is why I find these types of personalities very interesting, because he's really trying to make sure that he is clarifying that he is not involved in anything nefarious at all. That everything that he did back in this time when we saw that video, when he talked about all the money he was borrowing, was all on the up and up. All on the up and up. Didn't do anything with that money that was, not to the purposes it was intended. Tim was a good Christian.
Loan, not a loan. It was a grant, a forgivable grant. Backing up now. Those that said on.
What about the EIDL loan you just spoke about? that you've got 3.75% interest rate on, that you've got to pay for the next 30 years, that you have to pay $300 a month on. What happened to that one? Let's see who you justify that one. Please, Tim, let's go. Need justification.
Paper, I have 50 employees and I pay them $2,000 a month, $2,000 a week, whatever it is. And the government said, okay, here's you $1 million. Here's you several $100,000. And they fired all those people or never even had those people. Okay. They falsified documents. Folks, that kind of crime has been going on forever and ever. And yes, that's illegal.
All right. But this has nothing to do with what we're saying that you did. So why are you talking? Why are you trying to show this over here when this is what you're doing over here? See, switch and bait.
But to try to take somebody that legitimately has money, that earned their money, that makes money, and spends their money on what they want to spend it on, and others want to be.
Okay. So you don't feel like it was not fair to just get that money and pay debt? I mean, I don't think that's what it was intended for, allegedly.
Envious of that because they don't know how to make any money,
in my opinion,
and they have no skills, and they want to loop and put you in and make.
What do you mean, no skills? Promise you, Timothy Baker, I have far more education and skills than you would ever imagine. And I do this because I find it fascinating when I'm studying psychiatry, looking at individuals like yourself and how you try to manipulate people online. And this is a classic manipulation tactic that you're using to try to manipulate the narrative about these loans, because obviously maybe we have barium exposure touched a nerve. And I've not been the only one to mention the PPP loans. And some of the other people who used to mention it, you've struck their channels away. In fact, you ask for your subscribers to go after channels. Are you going to blame whoever gave you the advice to get the loans from whatever YouTube channel you were watching, that they're responsible for your behaviors too? All right, hurry up, Tim. This is getting long.
Make people think that you're part of this criminal force out there, like Biden family. Then, they can convince a few people that are easily influenceable. Okay. But if you ever see or read things in the comments by these robots, these bots that are being created through AI, by the way, a lot of these people are using videos that are AI. That's not them. They use a man, a woman.
I promise you, this is me. This is me. All right, Tim. He doesn't ever say he but he knows my channel exists, I'm sure, because I get quite a few views on your videos, Tim. Not the only one, though. I get more views for other stuff. So, Tim, no, you're not my most popular content.
They use a different voice. It's all very, very high tech now. I mean, I can do that. I can make my videos and probably get more subscribers, not hating on somebody, but just doing what I do and adding AI, some kind of false stuff. I can tell you, here's what AI can do if you don't know what it is.
You need a humidifier or something. You're getting a cough or a cold. Stop coughing in your hand like that, because what you're going to do is you're going to go out and touch stuff. You're about to go off and get coffee. You'll be touching everything somewhere soon.
It's artificial intelligence. Writers write scripts for sitcom shows. Writers write for the president. Writers write for a lot of people. They're very talented people, and then they go out and they read that teleprompter, right?
What in the tangential have you gone off into? You were talking about you were trying to tell people that you didn't borrow money, which we clearly heard you did, and now you're off on this tangent over here. Oh, for goodness sake. Well, hurry it up, Tim.
Right, a writer. And because people can't think on their own. People write songs for other people, and then people go and sing them because they can sing well. But you can tell AI, write me a speech.
This is the guy who tells his subscribers to hit the 3 dots and delete people who make any commentary about me that's negative. Make sure you're not watching any news because the news is so bad. And then Tim got like Fox News in the background on the TV in the RV. So it's you better do as Tim says, but what's good for the goose isn't always good for the gander. Do you know what I mean?
Speech to run for president of the United States. And AI will just start. There's an app. There's several apps. AI is all over now, everywhere. You can just say, write me a script on how to be president of the United States. What would people like to hear? And all of a sudden, your phone or your computer will just start typing instantly with the best speech no human could write. And that's exactly what AI is doing. And so AI.
This is just my brain listening to your brain dump whatever your thoughts are, Tim, out of your mouth. And I'm just trying to show people that this is what you said. And now you're trying to say that these aren't true. And you deleted this video, which makes it look a little bit more guilty for you, Tim, in my professional opinion.
Is being used for good and bad. The internet's being used for good and bad. We always knew this when it came about. It's a fantastic thing to have. We can't even live without it hardly.
That's right.
But it can be used for so much harm. And as people grow, Facebooks, Twatters and Twitters and TikToks and TikToks and all these things that people are doing, and they're using it in a bad way, the government, and they're bad, are going to actually step in and start to regulate.
The government's bad now, because if Tim were to suddenly not have his channel, then potentially he's been taken by the government, everybody allegedly, in my opinion.
And filter what these people can do and say using this tool.
Okay.
I mean, because they're using it for very slanderous, salacious lies to divide people, not about just me or anything, but other people, the politicians, churches, God, everything. The evil is rampant in this world, folks. Evil is smart. Evil uses all.
You preach it, Tim. Preach it like Kenneth Coleman.
All the tools.
You get that prosperity
Christian moral people,
out.
people that obey the law,
Preach it,
that keep to themselves, that aren't mouthy. They're the silent majority. They just sit. They don't get up like these mouthy people do, like liberals and haters and just
I could promise
terrible.
you probably a lot of people making commentary and reaction around you, Tim, probably are not liberals. I'm the most liberal one here.
Terrible people that are possessed with evil in their bodies, in their minds. They don't act like that. So you don't hear about them. So you hear all this crazy stuff. It's on TV, Desperate Housewives and the media and all kinds of things that you read.
I thought you only watched Grit.
Podcasts. I mean, they are trying to destroy and steal every Christian from entering the heaven, because they want to convince you to do evil, to think evil, to be evil. But it is so easy, without saying anything or doing anything, to simply have Christ in your heart, know who you are, walk with your shoulders back and your head high.
Tim, I saw the other day you have one of those videos where you that's a good screenshot. Hold on, Tim. I gotta get this screenshot real fast. Hold on. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but Tim did a really good face here, and now I just need a quick screenshot, guys. I apologize. Let me just get this real fast, and I'll be done real quick. Hold on. We're almost there. And capture. Thank you, Tim. Yeah. Tim, I saw that cowboy crushing it for Christ, collab as far as your personas were concerned. It was not a good one.
And know that he's got your back, because he says, all you got to do, we talked about it the other day in Crushing It for Christ, is say, Jesus, help me. And when he hears that, he says, then you can just relax and focus on him, and he takes over. He fights your battles for you. And I learned this lesson a long time ago. And when I became a YouTuber, and, you get attacked, every YouTuber does, from what they call trolls and haters. And for whatever reason,
I'm an absolute troll and hate. Happy holidays, everybody, from Tim. Isn't he a joy today? This is what he woke up with it on his, this is what he wants to talk about.
A lot of them like to pick on certain people, me being one, and a lot of other YouTubers as well. It's not a pity party here. I know there's plenty of them, much bigger YouTubers than me. And then look at Donald Trump. I mean, all these trumped up charges they put on this guy every day of the week.
So we went, I think last reaction, you compared yourself to Jesus Christ, and now you're comparing yourself to the president-elect Donald Trump. Okay, that makes sense. And that makes absolute sense, because Tim can only see himself in comparison to these individuals.
This guy was crucified more than anybody, and he wins the election a second time after being convicted by trumped up charges and lied about and crucified, and had a fraction of the money for campaign contributions as the left did. And look what he did. He's sitting in the White House come January 20th again.
Tim, have you not learned the politics does not always help? My channel is not a political channel, okay? But Tim is just crossing everything, meshing everything together, doing all the things he tells people not to do. Tim will come out and do it himself. It's okay for Tim, though. Not for you guys. Just Tim.
And wins by a landslide. And now people are wearing their MAGA hats, their shirts. The people are talking about Donald Trump. They're not afraid anymore. And that's what good people do. They keep things to themselves. They don't get online and right now.
They keep things to themselves. Well, you got out there pretty openly and like talked about how much you spent on your electric bills and everything. Now you're real secretive.
Nasty comments. They don't like you. They're just like, get away from me. Like Jesus did. Turn the other cheek. You go that way. I don't want anything to do with you.
I just said that you compared yourself to Jesus in the last video I did. And now you're to Jesus. Tim, this is problematic a little bit, in my opinion, allegedly.
I don't do negativity. I don't do evil. They don't sit there and want to fight you, and try to tear you down and slander you and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, anytime you put haters or bots or anything in your thing, you're gonna get more views.
Stuff. And so I'm just saying that this morning because actually yesterday I was informed by a good friend that I read something in the comments there. There were just these bots about, hey, he's on some list. I ain't on no list and I ain't going nowhere. All I'm going to do is keep crushing it.
Yeah, we actually do not believe you're going to keep crushing it, Tim. Anyway, guys, that one went on for way too long. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.